So, Dune Part 2, it just came out. It's the sequel to the 2021 Dune Part 1, which was directed by Denis Villeneuve. If you want to see my quickfire review, please go and watch it before you see this one. If you haven't seen Dune Part 1, there is no point in seeing Dune Part 2. You will not understand it. If you've seen Dune Part 1 and you didn't like it, then I would avoid Dune Part 2. But this film has a slightly different tone to Dune Part 1. It follows directly on from the end of Dune Part 1, picks up right where we left off, but gets deep into Paul Atreides getting used to being in the desert and becoming Fremen, becoming a leader. Everything that I have said about Dune Part 1, I would repeat here with aplomb for Dune Part 2. It is massive. It is amazing to watch visually, sound-wise. The acting is supreme. The script is brilliant. Like, it's really well thought out. I think the characters brought in here for Dune Part 2 are just fantastic, especially Austin Butler, who plays a character called Thade. He is vicious and threatening, and there's this kind of gladiator bit in the film which is really cool and has a different look and feel to it. On the Harkonnen homeworld, it's like black and white because they have a black sun. It's really visually impactful. Arrakis looks incredible as usual. They filmed in Jordan and there's some amazing shots of the Wadi Rum out in Jordan. It's just one of those locations that delivers time and time again as an otherworldly planet. And Denis Villeneuve just knows how to shoot these kind of films. He gets really close up and personal with his characters, and so much so we spend a long time with Paul Atreides and with the Zendaya character, so it builds up that relationship and his relationship with the Fremen, and it also brings up a lot of conversations around the Messiah who he's prophesied to be, and it actually gets to a point where it becomes a little Life of Brian.
He's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty boy.
Yeah, honestly, Javier Bardem's character believes wholeheartedly that Paul Atreides is the Messiah. And so it has these echoes of that, but then it is pretty serious about it. There is a bit later in the film where me and my friends who I went with just laughed out loud when Javier Bardem has a moment of saying, he's the Messiah, you know, listen like Gaib. And it was just because he'd said it so many times during the film, and you could see him like always having faith. And then at the end, it's just like, he is the Messiah. But the great thing about that aspect of it is not everyone believes that, including some of the main characters. And there's all these little tiny details in this film that I love picking up. It's such a short little thing. One of the main characters thinks that Paul Atreides is just not going to survive this thing he's going through, and you see it for a split second that they are like, I didn't think he was going to make it through that. If you don't know the story, you don't know really where it's going to go. And that's the beauty of it, because what it throws up in the film, I had no idea where this was going to go. And it brings up stuff that just isn't predictable, isn't something that you're just going to go, oh my God, like, yeah, that's obviously going to happen. That's obviously going to happen. There is one thing that happens and you're just like, oh yeah, no, it's all right. He'll be fine. But most of it, you're just like, what is going on next? Like, there's a concept around Rebecca Ferguson's character being pregnant that is alluded to in the end of part 1. This one, it just does something interesting with it. And you either take it or you leave it. And it's really good and really powerful. Rebecca Ferguson, oh my God, she's so good in this film. Like, I love her in everything. I think I said it in the last video for Dune Part 1. But she just continues to deliver as an actress. She's so compelling and really, really great. One aspect of the film that I've seen a lot of critics criticize is the fact that Christopher Walken plays the Emperor in this film. I personally don't see a problem with it. Yeah, it's Christopher Walken doing Christopher Walken, but I don't have a problem with it. He's not altogether that impactful, but I think moments where he's like cowering, to see that kind of person like that is really great. It is a shame that they didn't add loads of colour to it, but I thought it was a decent performance. Florence Pugh as well was really, really good. But obviously the biggest shout out goes to Timothée Chalamet I don't understand why this guy gets so much shade. Like, everyone I see watching films say there's something off about him that they don't kind of like and they think he's a bit overplayed, and he is in everything these days. I think he's brilliant. I went to see Wonka. I thought it was fantastic. I will eventually do a review on here. I've loved him in a lot of films, even some films that were objectively bad. He was always good in. So I like seeing him on screen, and I was worried about how he would build to be a genuine leader. And in this film, he really builds to it, and it's so convincing. He's really great. He's really enigmatic. There's loads of great action scenes as well. The action is so amped up in this. There's a lot more going on, and in that respect, it is a lot better than Dune Part 1. It never feels slowed down, except maybe at the beginning. It takes a while to kind of get everything bedded in, but then once it gets going, God, does it get good. And by the end of it, I was just like, this is hands down one of the best things I've seen in a while, and it hadn't even got to the end. And then the end happened, and I was like, oh my God, this moment where Timothée Chalamet's character and Austin Butler's character are together on screen is just spellbinding. It's a great scene. I really enjoyed that part, and it's funny watching a film that's so grand and epic and has massive space worms and space travel and all this kind of thing, and it all boils down to this one closed-in moment together. And it's superb. It's really well done. And I came out of the screen going, I want to see that again. And also, I want to see what happens next. I went into this film knowing just beforehand that there might be a third. But I thought it was a two-parter, and that's all we're going to get. And this will just wrap up and everything. But at the end of it, I was like, I really, really want to see more. It is so rare to go to a film these days and come out of it and go, I want more of that, please. I'm so excited for the future of this franchise. I think Dune Part 2 is a fantastic film. It's actually an improvement on the first, even though I've really enjoyed the first. This is better. It knocks it out of the park for me. The soundtrack is outstanding. I've had it on in work, and it just melts my brain. It's so good. So yeah, I don't really have any criticism for this film. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. Go watch it immediately in the biggest screen that you possibly can. And that's it. That's my review of Dune Part 2. I hope you enjoyed that one. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing. It would help us out a lot. I've got more reviews incoming, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.